If you were asked to present a topic right now, how would you feel about that? Be it at a wedding or at work or in a classroom, would you feel prepared in no time? Would you feel that you're ready for that presentation, that public speech on the spot? In this video, I will share with you tips and tactics that get you to be ready in any situation. I have been using a powerful format for over 15 years and it has been refined to perfection. So if there's anything that is perfect in this world, this format is. That can take all your information, put it in a structure and get you to present and give your public speech with confidence and feel excellent and ready at any time. It's a beautiful weather today, so I'm thinking why not go to one of the best touristy spots in Sydney and get you to have a look and we can discuss our topic over there. So let's go. Thing is, I haven't been there for ages, so I hope I find some parking. Oh, amazing, and a parking spot. This sounds like a very good start. This is awesome, it doesn't get any better than this. Parking is set, let's go. And our topic today in this beautiful place is something that everybody is terrified from. It is number one on the fear list. People are afraid of this more than they are afraid of sharks and snakes. Can you guess it? Yes, it's public speaking or presentation in public. Confidence is a big factor that a lot of people fear. By the end of this video, you'll have the structure that will help you present in any situation with confidence and at ease. Remember, everything takes practice, so practice makes it perfect. And today I add an extension to it, and perfect practice makes it permanent. Coming up. Welcome back to creating your own new limitless world. And for those who are meeting me for the first time, I'm Dr. JoeIsaak. I have been helping people present with confidence around the world for the last 15 years. What does that mean for you? That you are with a professional that will help you bust through this if you follow the structure I'm going to share with you today and give you the right structure to set you on the right track. If you practice everything that I say in this video, you will see a massive difference in the way you present. If you want to know more about me, I'll put a bio in the video description below. You can check it out at your convenience. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and remember to activate the bell notification button. And remember that your subscription and support to the channel is your charity, because whatever revenue we develop all goes to charity. The structure I will share with you is very fluid. You can contextualize it and customize it to whatever the situation that you want to use it in. You might like to be ready to take some notes down throughout the video to create your own structure or put your own prompters. I will share with you all of it if you are going to formally train someone or formally present a particular topic. However, in a social setting, you can still take some parts from that structure and run them in the same sequence. Without further ado, let's jump into the first item on our agenda, is the greeting. When you meet someone, you have to greet them. Obviously, depending on the day or the night, you will use a very simple greeting straight to the point. Second item is that you show them that you appreciate their presence. In whatever context it is, you can still thank people for coming or for watching your video. I will share with you at the end certain phrases that you can use, or you can customize your own sentences to prompt you in every single part of those items on that structure. The third item is that you introduce yourself, and always keep your intro short. Just so you can see here on my YouTube, when I introduce myself, I just give highlights and I allow people to investigate further. If they wanted to know a little bit more about me, then I'll give them the resources. The more you talk about yourself, the less you connect with your audience. Item number 4 is to set the goals for that presentation or for that session. What do you want the people to achieve, or what do you expect after you share with them your message, what they're going to take out of it? And that has to be very clear from the beginning, because that's a point of connection that you can have with your audience. Item number 5 is only applicable in a formal setting. So if you have to warn the people of some safety hazards, or they gotta use some protective equipment to be in a particular situation, which is normally something that we advise them about the exits, about the meeting point. But if you're in a social setting, it will be very funny if you cover something like this. Item number 6 is when you break the ice and when you connect even more with your audience, when you command them to do something, whatever action it is, or get to know one another to take the pressure away from you on stage. Item number 7 is where you set the expectation. What do you expect from the audience, and what do they expect from you? And if you have that mutual agreement right at the beginning, you're both gonna have a great connection and an amazing result at the end, because the expectations are clearly identified at the beginning. Item number 8 is where we're going to spend some time, because it could be 4 items or it could be 1 item depending on how you look at it. And this is the part that you can use as an intro as you move through your message. If your message had 3 particular parts, you can always use that item, which is composed of 4 parts, when you are presenting the next point as a transition for every single part of your message. Say, for instance, you are explaining 2 things. So now you've went through that structure and explained the first point. Now you want to move from the first point to the second point. This item, which is composed of 4 steps, will help you to transit very seamless transition into the second point and follow the same structure, even though you may not be prepared for it, because once you put it into that format, I call it format because it formats the brain, or it's composed of 4 items. It will structure anything to make it absolutely logical and very appealing for whatever type of audience you might have. Now let's talk about the format or the format. It has 4 particular components. The first component is to always drive the energy at the beginning and the point of connection. People often connect with the speaker when there's something in it for them, when there's some kind of motivation, when there's some kind of benefit. And that's the part when you raise the question, something you can say like, who here has experienced this blah blah by showing hands? Or you can contextualize it and customize it to whatever words you want to use in the particular setting that you want to use it for. The second item is the what, where you give them a particular structure to the cover that you're going to cover. So for example, today we're going to talk about point number 1, 2, 3. So let's talk about point number 1. You give them a particular structure just for the next, let's say, 4 or 5 minutes. That allows the synchronization of the information to go through the brain. The next component is very important, and that's when you transfer the skill from your side to their side by giving them a demonstration of how should they understand this message, or how they should use that tactic, or how they should develop and practice that skill. So I always say, for instance, if I'm training someone something, or I'm making sure that I'm transferring the skill from my side to their side, I will always say, now let me demonstrate to you how I will personally use this. Once they can visualize the message and see how you're using it, if it's a handy thing, or how are you implementing that thing that you've just suggested, that will help them create a visual image in their brain to understand your message correctly in the way you intended to send it. The fourth item, and it's very important one, is your spring timing system. When we are on stage, sometimes we might finish a little earlier. And this is where you can use the what if scenario. What if scenario is when you cover any part that is not common, that is not usual in the message that you shared or in the skill that you taught. So for example, you always tell the people, turn the computer on this way. Now, you've told them how, but sometimes I'm pressing on this button and it's not working. That's a deviation. That's very unusual setting. And that's the part where you can use that what if scenario as your spring system, or allow people to ask questions. If they don't have any questions, then you can create a deviation from the message that you have shared that can spare you some time and allow you to finish exactly on the time that you want to finish, which then gives you a powerful spring system to always appear that you're timing everything perfectly, even though you may not be. Now we are left with 2 items. In those 2 items, depending on the setting that you're in, you might choose to use them or not. The summary, which is where you recap everything that you have covered in your message. In that part, you're just sticking to only the main points that you really want to reinforce in the brains that you have been talking to, in whatever setting that might be. But the last item is where you conclude your message and only target the most important point, like one. And if you're doing, for example, a sales presentation, that's when we call it go for the call for action. Ask your audience to do exactly the most important thing that you wanted them to do. If you are sharing a funny moment, let's say an MC at a wedding, that's when you close on this part, saying the most funny thing about the bride or the groom, or the most amazing thing about that day that you have spent with them, or whatever it might be, that leaves a very strong ending impression with the audience that are listening to your message. Now, what I will do is I will run through this structure all the way from the beginning to the end, so you can get an idea of exactly how it works by some of the wording that I use as a prompter. You might include your own words that makes perfect sense for you and whatever situation you want to use it in. Greet, good morning, acknowledge, thank you for coming. Introduce yourself. My name is, use your first name and surname. It builds connection. Set your goal by the end of this message, by the end of this presentation, whatever you'll be able to. If it's a safety thing, tell them where the exits are, where the meeting point are, and that's for safety reasons. Break the ice by finding out something about them or get them to meet one another. Expectations, set some ground rules of what you expect from them and what do they expect from you. Next part is why, who here would like to, what today we're gonna cover, how, let's practice what we have shared, what if, are there any questions, or create your own questions. Summary, so in this video we have covered, or in this session we have covered, or in this presentation we have covered. Conclusion, please remember going forward that blah, 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 whatever that might be. Now in this video we've covered the basics of a very powerful structure that you can use in any situation. In my next video, I will be sharing with you 5 pro tips, how to customize, how to contextualize, and how to tweak your conversation to whatever the setting that you are in. So look out for that pro video when it comes out. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the 5 pro tips coming next. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Certain safety hazards. I love how she left the whole entire Darling Harbor and came to walk right behind me. Darling Harbor is one of the most frequently visited spots by many tourists from all around the world. And of course, you don't visit the Darling Harbor without having a coffee at Lind Cafe, the iconic coffee shop in Darling Harbor. La 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 la.